We are live. Let's see for you. Just point at me if anybody's watching on your. Hi everyone, welcome to my live Q&A. I'm Michael Dunham, founder of XMD Academy. Today we'll be talking with Spicer McLeroy.
That's me.
Spicer's character artist. We're gonna be talking about how he became an artist and what knowledge he'll take away from his 10-week course on xmdacademy.com. Character creation for Collectibles. So
also known as C3.
All right, welcome, Spicer. Welcome to the chat.
Oh, thanks for having me, brother.
So
it's weird to see each other during the day.
I know, we always do this at night. So
all right.
Yeah.
We're always like blinds down. It's all dark and it's different.
All right. So, how many years have you been in the industry?
I would say I've never been officially in the industry. I've always been a freelance artist, just working for like commissioners and.
That's still in the industry.
But if we're counting that, then definitely I've been doing that solid for like 6 years.
Nice.
But I've been using Zbrush and learning Zbrush and learning character art and working with other professionals for about 9 years. I created ZBrush Hangout. .com and basically people just go there and we just hang out, and luckily I had a lot of really great artists that came in, and the learning curve was very, very steep, like and I've always like drawn before, but I never translated it into sculpture until it just stopped being messy. There was like always clay and like armatures, or you had to like chisel it out, and I was like, I don't have the space for that. And then it became available through ZBrush on the computer at home, and that's whenever I completely changed my life. I was going to be a professional musician. At that time, I was like 7 years into playing the guitar and learning music theory, like I sculpt and learn anatomy now, and just playing every day and all that stuff. But as soon as I saw the first standard stroke brush over the Ryan Kingsland standard head, life totally changed for me. So gave up everything else. I was working at a bank at that time, and as soon as I saw ZBrush, I was like, you know what? I don't even care about this job. So I was like spending all night ZBrushing, and then coming in late and tired to the bank, and eventually they fired me, which was great because then I got unemployment, and then did that for like a year, just on unemployment, and every day learning something new about ZBrush. Like basically, I took it as a job, and I needed to do it within like 3 to 4 months. I needed to really, really be serious about this and take it to the next level. And ever since then, it's just been nonstop. And only surround myself with hardworking people, creative people, and passionate artists. And just been gathering like some really, really great friends and coworkers, such as yourself and Ad and Eric and Ashley. And they're all teaching courses here too. So so this is something I've dedicated my life to. I've never stopped, taken breaks in terms of getting like burnout, but always very passionate about creating characters in ZBrush and making them look believable.
Yeah. So what was your first job as an artist? How did you break into the industry?
I'd say about 6-7 months after I started ZBrush, I got my first gig, and that was this guy wanted like 3 cherubs sculpted. Basically the same one, but just posed for each one. Yeah. And I got to do that. He paid me like $350 for that, and that was my first one. In terms of professional, that was Wolf Miniatures. I had at the time I created a company called Dead Panic Studios. It's no longer around, but our first gig was Wolf Miniatures, and we did pretty much a line of orcs, and that's where I really needed to like. It was a good chunk of change. It was basically our first project as a company, and I just dedicated I was working like 60 hours a
Mm.
week on this line, and yeah, that was the first one. That was like my first taste of like, this is really your responsibility, and if you don't, get it done now that you're in a corporate sense, they can, you know, if you don't get it done, that's not good for your company. So,
Oh yeah.
um, so after that, I just like, yeah, kept going, and was doing games and collectibles and commissions and character concepts along the way. But since then, I've specialized in sculpting and pose and creating game assets for various indies and now professional studios. Mhm.
So, as you've been working over the years, how long did it take you to have confidence in your own work?
Hmm. I'd say I've been doing this about 9 years, and when you say confidence, I say that in terms of like not second guessing
Yes.
where I'm going with anatomy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened about 2.5, 3 years ago. Because I really, really was like, okay, I need to stop just sculpting what I see. And I really, really need to understand what's going on, because always gathering all this reference and not having it and just making it up. And, like us as character artists, we will start sculpting something. And if we don't, and because I've been there, I know, like, we're sculpting what we see or from reference, and we
Yeah.
got to make stuff up, and we're just not really truly confident about it.
Mm-hmm.
And to really understand everything underneath that, that's whenever you really start sculpting with confidence, and it becomes a whole lot quicker, because it's the same puzzle over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
There's slight differences between male and female in terms of physical anatomy, but other than that, it's pretty much, they're the main muscle groups, the sculptural muscle groups. They're all the same. They connect and attach in the same areas. So through repetition and through studying, even up until this point, I'm still studying that, and it's very important to me to really, really understand this puzzle as intricately as possible.
Yeah, that seems to be a common subject that comes up a lot is repetition, making mistakes, continuously sculpting over and over and over, not worrying about is this piece finished. Just keep going. What are your thoughts on, making mistakes and just repetition in general?
In the beginning, um, I'd say the first 2 years were probably the most emotionally taxing,
Hmm.
because that's whenever I didn't really have an environment of artists around me at that time in terms of like my speciality.
Hmm.
There were like graphic artists and animation and visual effects artists around me, but no one really in my realm. Uh, and so I started creating hangouts and stuff like that. But anyway, whenever I started doing that, I started uh, stop comparing myself to others in terms of like at the time, what's his name, Mute, and then Mute 3D, I think his name
Hmm.
was on Zbrush Central, and then someone else. But I would always compare myself to them and be like, man, they just sculpt so well, and I was just like a year or two into it. And whenever I made mistakes, I was always really hard on myself. It's like, you shouldn't be making mistakes. You got to get this done. La, 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 la. And but now I love mistakes. I think mistakes are probably the most fun part about it now. Partly because of mental reconditioning,
Hmm.
but also just that's where the gold is. That's where the diamonds are. That's where uh, the story and the journey and the trials and tribulations all come together. And not only are you making better characters, you're becoming a better character yourself in terms of like overcoming obstacles, staying calm, staying positive, searching out, researching, being curious, being almost a scientist in terms of how to communicate a human form to a viewer in a very exciting way.
Hmm.
And yeah, so mistakes get you there. So if you're right now and you're making lots of mistakes, embrace them, know what they are, and then after that, you can learn. Now you know what you need to learn,
Yeah.
and then that's another plateau and another plateau. So just never like be hungry, but don't be in a rush.
Yeah.
Like be patient with yourself. You can only expect so much from yourself. There's people with talent, absolutely, that probably don't work as hard or whatever just because they have the talent and they're doing it and they and that's fine. They got the talent. I didn't have the talent in sculpting, and eventually I've got to an acceptable degree, and and you can too. Like there's nothing keeping you from it except consistency, a positive attitude, and creating an environment of professionals. And now with the internet, you've got Hangouts, you've got message boards, you've got Discord where you can hang out. You can even create your own community, where you just invite people in that you've communicated with, and find a friendship. And I think the best thing is allowing it to be public. That way, you can just get all types of people in, people that are distractions, people that are inspiration, and everything in between. And that's only going to make you a better character as a person. And there's always something to learn from somebody,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of where they are in their skill set. Mhm.
Yeah. So, what would you say was the turning point in your career? When did you start really getting work and recognition for your
Um, See, I don't really know that. I know whenever I started getting busy with clients,
work? Mm-hmm.
and that was about 2.5 years ago, whenever I dedicated myself to learning anatomy. Took Scott Eaton's course, which is absolutely fabulous. So in depth. Like my course goes into anatomy, but his is just so deep. I mean, and it takes years to really absorb all that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is an overview and is really good for like just getting in and getting out and just hitting like the major points, and then everything in between you can creatively put together. But after I learned anatomy and I was stopped making the same mistakes and stopped um, not in terms of like I don't want to say a style because like a style is just things that you do wrong consistently, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's people that have learned anatomy correctly and have learned anatomy well, that those mistakes are on purpose. Mine were not on purpose. Mine were because I didn't know. And so learning anatomy and then really getting deep into Z modeler and just giving myself challenges like creating a motorbike, like creating swords, creating guns, creating all that type of stuff, because I'd always been organic and like pretty much extracting and just sculpting.
Mm-hmm.
And I really need to take my game to the next level and start doing hard surface. And thankfully ZBrush had Z Muller, and it's just natural for me to just stay in ZBrush and keep going and going and going. I can get anything that I truly need out of ZBrush one way or another.
Mm-hmm. So, what mistakes do you commonly see when people are putting out their portfolios for the first time?
Um, hmm, I would say hmm, lots of T poses.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
Not, and then whenever it is posed, it feels off balance.
Yeah.
And then um, yeah, after that, it's always the face and the hands. Like people, if Norman Rockwell said it the best, if you can get the hands and the head right, they'll forgive you for the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of people, like if I was just starting out, those are the two things I would sculpt every day. Every day I would start off with a hand sculpt and a head sculpt, and then I would get into whatever I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't have time to get into whatever I was doing, then at least I got those two things done. And tomorrow, after a good night of rest, I'm going to be even better.
Yeah, always whenever you leave your work and come back to it, you definitely see things that would not, and like if you just sit there focused for 10 hours a day, for that 10 hours, you're staring at the same thing. You
Yeah.
go get some rest, come back, you're going to see what's wrong. Things are going to pop out at you that you didn't see before.
Yeah. And your mind has time to like subconsciously process all that information.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where things are solved. It's not solved staring at it and like looking at it over and over again and being angry and frustrated, right? It's whenever you've gotten it to a point, you've accepted where you can go. If you have more time, do something else. If you don't have more time, go to bed. Like always get a
Mm-hmm.
good night's sleep, because your mind is going to have enough time to process all the information, and subconsciously you're going to wake up with another step
Mm-hmm.
on your path to becoming an even more proficient artist. In some ways, I become obsessed with learning everything about a certain subject. And ZBrush has just always kept my attention. Anatomy and character art has always kept my attention. So, usually when I go to bed, I'll be thinking about an artistic challenge that I have. And then when I wake up in the morning, I have at least another idea to attack it. And I'm never focused on it being successful. I'm focused on getting it out.
Mm-hmm.
Get it out because that's the only way it's really tangible and something that you can observe. Having it, at least for me, whenever I just have it in my mind and it's a thought, I can never really refine it enough as opposed to taking the action um, and then refining that action that I took instead of just keeping it in my head.
Now, I'd have to say that every artist, to some extent, has ADD. Like
Mm-hmm.
you constantly got ideas going. You've got
Mm-hmm.
new ideas. You're like, hey, shiny nickel. I mean, you'd be working on something and then see something funny on Facebook. You're like, hey, oh, new idea. And
Oh yeah.
it's just like constantly going, constantly churning. How do you harness that energy that is constantly
Um, First thing is out of sight, out of mind.
going? Mm-hmm.
So I put my cell phone to the side and I close out those pages.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I always have my email up because no one emails me for social reasons.
Yeah.
They always email me for business or spam. Right. So it's one of those things. So I'll keep that up. But in terms of just social, which is different from networking,
Yeah.
right? All the social tendencies and all that stuff, I shut down. Like notifications on Facebook um, are not that important.
Mm-hmm.
In the long run, like whenever you're dying, you're never going to be like, oh man, I remember that one day I had that notification. No, you're never going to think that, right? So, out of sight, out of mind, and also devaluing it in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Like that has to be a process, and it doesn't just happen, right? It's a struggle. Like I'm not saying that I totally don't have Facebook distract me because literally every day I'm working, I'm distracted by Facebook,
Oh
right?
yeah.
But it's a process, and it's been a whole lot less than it was before, and it's just going to continue doing that. So I would say, if you do get caught, don't have a negative emotional reaction. Be like, okay, here's my problem. This is
Mm-hmm.
what distracted me. This is what I'm gonna do now, and then I'm gonna focus. And then you don't have that baggage of, oh man, I messed up, man. I can't believe I always get distracted, man. Like just get rid of that because that doesn't matter in the end. What's your goal?
Yeah.
Does what just happened have anything to do with that goal? Then let it go, right? Like that's my journey right now. Is
Mm-hmm.
like just like small things that happen. Like usually, like if I drop something, like and I'll like do that. But now, less I'm like, okay, now I just got to pick it up and problem solve.
Yeah.
Like it's just that's the journey I'm on the inside.
So what is the day what is a day in the life of Spicer as a freelance artist? And how many
It's so
hours
good.
do you put in? How do you communicate with your customers? How do you find work?
Oh, I gotta tell you, regularly I thank the universe for the life that I have. Regularly, because like I get to wake up when I want to. I work however much I need to in whatever spurts.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I just want to stop working and go watch YouTube and then come back and then finish my work, then I can do that. Like no one's over me, no one's telling me what to do and all that stuff, which is what I've been looking for my entire life is independence and autonomy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really, really enjoying the freelance life. But in terms of a schedule, I wake up around 8:30 to 9:30 every day because usually emails come in around 6:30, and I don't want to be waking up at 3 and responding at 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
So for a professional sense, and then I garden, so things need to be watered at a certain time, or else the water is gonna actually just hurt but anyway, sorry. So that keeps me up and keeps me waking up at a certain time. After that, let my dogs out, have coffee brewing, take a shower, answer emails, read for about an hour, hour and a half, always undisturbed. Everything's off, phone's away, even my email shut down. Like the world can wait an hour, hour and a half while I'm trying to, read and learn. And that's important for me every morning is to read something uh, that is tailored to whatever I'm interested in at the time. Um, just for like neuroplasticity and all that stuff. After that, from 1 to 3, I work on my personal project, and that involves drawing and sculpting and writing and concepting and talking with other creators that are that I work with, um, and ensuring that that project's always going. And then from 4, because I have lunch from 4 till probably 11 or 12, I'm doing client work, and in between there, I take my dogs for a walk. But that's my day to day. And whenever I'm communicating with clients, and I still sometimes fail at this, a whole lot less than I would say 99% of the time I'm good, and 1% of the time I could word it a little bit better. But I'm always I'm not groveling before my clients, right? But I am always ensuring that I appreciate them, you know, in a respectful manner, and not in a overbearing. Oh, thank you, just like, hey, thank you for your time, thank you for the work that you're doing, because these clients have to critique my work and make sure that they art direct it in an efficient manner, so I'm not going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, right? So I definitely appreciate my clients doing that, and they're always teaching me something or giving me something or encouraging me as well. And I definitely started off immediately whenever I'm communicating with a client or a student is, you know, positivity and ensuring that they know that I appreciate their time to even like communicate with me and take the time to, write all that out. Like in our world, we're always going, 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 going.
Yeah.
So always let your clients know that you appreciate them if they're paying you well and they're doing a good job as well, because it's it's a two-way street. It's a two-lane highway, and we've got to be going in the same direction at all times. And if they do a good job at that, definitely let them know, because I guarantee you that most of the time they don't even get told, hey, thank you for art directing so well.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that, because we got this done really quick. I think it looks good. And it does take a good amount of patience and care to be a leader like that. And it has to go appreciated. It has to be mentioned. Other than that, in terms of getting clients, um, posting on LinkedIn, but not whips. No whips on LinkedIn. Always finished work that you've already presented on Facebook and your normal social, right? Got your feedback, like, did it hit well? Did it not hit well? If it did, then post it on LinkedIn. Right. The Earthworm Gym that I did almost a year and a half ago got me more gigs and more clients than anything else. And it's still a mystery to me. Like I don't know. I can't like, oh, well, at this certain time I need to create an Earthworm Gym and I need to post. There's no way I could have planned this, and in terms of it's not luck, because I networked, right? I purposefully added people on LinkedIn that make the decisions of who hires the artist. And that's mainly my network on LinkedIn. So whenever I post something, they see it, and it usually spreads around pretty decently without any advertising. Other than that, I do spend about $30 to $45 a month on advertising. It's very important that you do that, especially if you have a page um, on Facebook or you have an Instagram. Like, I think you need to invest in making money. And the best way is to make something really, really good that you had fun doing, not something you hated doing, something you really love doing. Put it up on Instagram and give about $15. Have them follow you, all that stuff. And some of it's bots, we all know that. But the point is that you're getting exposure. You're getting way more people viewing your artwork, and no one cares about your artwork, right? you have to put it in their face.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put it in their face and make them look at it. And there's and the most respectful way to do that is to have a finished piece of art that that you had fun doing. And um, yeah, that's the way I get my network going. That's how I get my clients. And usually when I ask my clients, hey, do you have anything you want me to work on? They're like, yeah, we got something for you. You know, and I really appreciate them greatly. Yeah.
So do you ever post work in progress?
I do on my Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
right? But Instagram is for finished work. You know, like Facebook's where I post my whips because it's just a personal network, right? It's not. Um, mm, I would say Facebook's more social and fans and less business and deals.
Mm-hmm.
Like business and deals is done on LinkedIn for me,
Yeah.
and that's just my personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely go through there. I've definitely got some gigs from Facebook, but again, I added people's work that I enjoyed. Right,
Yeah.
people's work that inspired me. If they created a movie and I know who they are and they did the concept art, I definitely want them in my social network. Right, that's what my Facebook is about. Like everything's about CG art, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or um, LinkedIn, and it's just very select. Like yeah,
Yeah,
that's all I want to focus on.
I think it's kind of funny how Facebook has become that for at least in our industry. Um, Most people are less about, I want to share my puppy with my family,
Hmm.
and more about industry professionalism. Because I've noticed a lot of people growing their audience, and they're all about adding people from the industry and getting to know people because our industry is incredibly small, even though it's huge.
Hmm.
Everybody knows everybody, and everybody goes to like ZBrush Summit, GDC, SIGGRAPH,
Yeah.
and it's just you can gain jobs very quickly just from like small networking here and there, and Facebook in general.
Yeah. Most of the jobs are not posted.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the jobs are already taken before they need to post it, and the reason is because of their network.
Yeah.
Because they can be, oh, you want an environment artist here? Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this guy's available, and you already know what they're paying. You already know all that stuff. So you're like, hey, this is what they're paying. Are you down? All right, we need you for this amount of time. Are you down? All right, cool. All right, this guy's ready to go. Go ahead and talk to him if you like him. Cool. If not, I have someone else. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, and friends help friends. I mean, obviously, if you care about someone,
Yeah.
you know, and you're a friend and you help each other out and you appreciate each other and communicate with each other, then when that person's out of a job
Yeah.
or doesn't have any work, you're obviously going to go out of your way to get that person some gigs, you know, but that relationship isn't based on that situation. The relationship, you know, is based on obviously friendship, mutual respect, desire to become a great artist, and you know, just being supportive,
Oh,
you know.
definitely.
But whenever that need comes around, those two people will work together and something will happen. And
Mm-hmm.
a friend of mine, in the morning, he's like, hey, do you have any gigs? I need some help. 3 hours later, I had him a gig.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just that type of network and friendship, and because we're all in this together, like there's no reason to like everyone's a competition on growth, but not competition on jobs, because there's so many jobs,
Yeah.
but there's not enough talented people,
Mm-hmm.
because people sculpt what they see instead of what they know. And that keeps more people out of work than anything else, because most of the people that got to the point that they are know anatomy to a of level to be a director of it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of communicating anatomy for the purpose of a game or a collectible or a movie, you know. Um, and so, yeah, they know when it's out of whack, and they don't want to spend the time to instruct you on what it is that's wrong, you know, or anything like that, because it's just, you're going to have to figure out what's wrong, and now you got to learn how to resculpt it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you need people that are efficient, because the way you make the most money is getting things done quickly,
Oh yeah.
you know, quickly, efficiently, and positively. Because if you make it easy for your client to communicate with you, and anytime, like my client, one of my clients has given me a list of revisions
Mm-hmm.
before, and I thanked him for it because in the end, I know it's going to look better,
Mm-hmm.
right? I know it's going to look better, and it's going to get approved and licensed way quicker. Just listening and being positive and being open to it, not like, oh God, you know, how are you going to sculpt something really beautiful that way?
Yeah.
It's impossible. You're not going to. You'll sculpt something serviceable, or you'll sculpt something to get the check, but you're not going to sculpt something that they want to work with you again. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so you just got to be positive. You got to be positive and stay that way. And again, I'm not 100% on that. You know, I still always have more to learn and always have ways to improve.
Mm-hmm. Now you are teaching a class on XMD Academy,
Mm-hmm.
character creation for collectibles.
Duh.
This is the second time we are running this course, and I have followed you along with this course. I know it is an amazing course.
Thank you, brother.
You touched a few minutes ago on sculpting what you know, not what you see.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know you go on and on about this in the course. If you could just tell everyone a little bit about your course, and I have it shared on the screen, by the way,
Yeah.
that so they can see what it's all about. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. My course is probably for beginners on their way to intermediates, and intermediates are ready to go. You know, like okay, I need to fix everything that's wrong with my sculpting, and I need to know what that is, and I need to take myself to the next level.
Hmm.
You know, in one of the promo videos, I say we're going to level you up like you've never been upped before, right? And that is what this is for. This is to teach you what you can do a whole lot more efficiently, and understanding what's happening with the human body and the face. It's very important that you know that. That's literally the first step to being high,
Hmm.
right? Is understanding what that is, knowing how to manipulate it, knowing where the angles are going, knowing where what happens whenever the body moves, and all that type of stuff. And at least being able to dissect reference, right? So you don't get confused and you don't allow the image to confuse you or deceive you. You'll be like, okay, that shadow's there, but I know that the temporal arch is here. It's
Hmm.
always going to be here according to a skull that, you know, and all this stuff. I mean, literally all this stuff we're going to go over, and you're going to be able to communicate your characters even quicker, more efficiently, and with a whole lot more refinement than anyone else around you.
Now,
So I've really put everything that I know into this course. I try to make it as succinct as possible, as easy to understand as possible. Everyone that took the live course gave me 100%, right? Like it's a
oh yeah.
100% approval rating. On last semester, we had 15 students. I took my time with each and every single one of them, one by one, on a one by one basis, and ensured that they understood what I was teaching to them at the moment, what I've taught them in the modules, and ensuring that they have a good plan going forward. And we advertise the live sessions as an hour, but you can ask the previous 15 students. Like it was regularly over that because you paid a good amount of money for this, and I'm going to give you more than you paid for it. And that's my job
Oh.
in terms of being a teacher,
Hmm.
and hopefully guiding you, being able to guide you uh, towards becoming a better professional and a more skilled artist as well. Because I take my time as well to ensure that you know, if you are ready to go freelancing, that here's some stuff that you need to know before you get started. And that's not even advertised in the course, you know, because it's something extra that I give because again, over deliver,
Oh
under
yeah,
promise.
definitely. I mean, you've by far over delivered on this course. It is an absolute amazing course. And so you're talking about your live streams. I One of your live streams, I believe, went almost 4 hours long.
Yeah.
Um, it was
Yeah.
that. I mean, I was in every one of your live streams, and the amount of information that your students got from your course was unbelievable. You even sculpted an eye in the middle of one of your courses because one of your students were like, could you show me how to do this? And you're like, yeah, blah blah blah. It's just like,
Here's an eye, and like 5-10 minutes later, we had an eye that I was explaining while I went through it. Uh, according to the modules, so that he could understand, and it does help to see someone sculpt it, and that's what I'm gonna be adding because like this course is basically gonna be um, uh, well, just a warehouse of all the information I get from now on. I'm just going
right.
to put everything in here. It is character creation for collectibles. I think it's kind of funny that we name it that, but it's so much more than that. Again, under promise over deliver, right? So, anything that I learn, any workflows or anything like that, any sculpting videos that I plan to add on this next course is basically, here's everything about the face. Here's how to sculpt the nose. Here's how to sculpt an eye. Here's how to sculpt here, and like literally show you how to do that. I feel it's a little bit better to do that live
Yeah.
because you can be, not only like obviously education is better in a live aspect. You can, give them quote unquote textbook or quote unquote modules and stuff to learn from. But really, the magic of education is direct communication, and those live sessions. I love doing live sessions. I look forward to doing those because they let me know what I could do better on the course um, content, which I'm always going to be refining and making better and investing in because y'all are invested not only your time but money as well. So.
Well, yeah, okay. So you talk about adding content, adding, you want it to be worth it for people that sign up for this course. So yours is a 10-week course, but as of now, even though your last term, the was that spring term
Mhm.
is over, how many weeks are you up to now?
13 weeks.
13 weeks,
Hmm.
and your
We
students
got
only
2 more
paid
weeks left.
yeah, your
Yeah.
students only paid for 10, but you were constantly coming out with content that just
Yeah.
adds to the course. And I mean, your speed sculpts that you added to it recently, they're absolutely amazing, and I think that they add a lot more. And you said, you don't know why we named it character creation for collectibles. It is so much more than that. And what it started out was, we were just talking about you want to do some sculpting, you want to throw a little bit of anatomy in there, but it came so much more than that.
Yeah.
So, how much do you value anatomy? Because I know it is like your cornerstone, like it's your keystone of the way that you work. What would you say is the importance of anatomy?
Uh, for me as an artist, formulas are so intoxicating, and that's what the human body is. It's a formula of forms, shapes, and rhythms. And the more you understand it, the quicker you're able to communicate it, and the quicker you're able to put some armor on, put some leather jackets on, put some scars on, put some hair on, you get to that part quicker. And like for me, like I've always enjoyed jobs that had, okay, so you just need to do this and then it's done. Like data entry, dude. Like,
Yeah.
dude, it's just a keyboard, right? It's the same puzzle. You like, dude, I was the quickest typer you ever seen, dude. Just like stuff that would take people a week, I get done in a day. Like just because I enjoy finding, refining that process. Learning that muscle memory. Like all that type of stuff. And that's what the human body is, and has been for me for like the last 7-8 years. After the initial like first year of sculpting, um, and yeah. So for me, it's everything. It's I sculpt characters and creatures. So if the anatomy's not right or isn't believable, it takes people away from that moment. And
Mm-hmm.
we're um, in the scheme of things, we're creating a character to immerse someone. And if someone's looking at horrible anatomy or bad proportions or unintentional style, then it takes them away from what could be, a more immersive experience or a better story because they're not concerned with, they're just enjoying what they're seeing instead of like, ah, that's wrong, this is wrong, that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see made up anatomy in so many sculptures that it's like it's so easy to correct if you just take 10 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not even that, maybe like 4 or 5 weeks of just really hunkering down and learning anatomy. And that's what I tried to do in this one is just like give you that really, really, really good overview to get you started, and then you can watch it again and again and again and get more detail, more detail, more detail. And the videos are going to be updated every year, and yeah, and there's going to be more content added. I mean, is it, I just want this to be the end all tutorial, you know,
Yeah.
like in terms of, hey, I want to be a better sculptor and I want to know how to use ZBrush.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is it. If I want to learn how to sculpt stylized, this is it. If I want to learn how to sculpt anatomy, this is it. If I want to learn how to sculpt realism, this is it. If I want to involve Substance Painter into ZBrush, if I want to take ZBrush into Marmoset, if I want to take it into Keyshot, if I want to learn how to do all, like from beginning to end, and I spend a lot of time on the anatomy because that's where most people are miscommunicating their ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and that's again step number one in terms of um, uh, being a character artist or a creature artist, because if you know animal anatomy, you can immediately transfer that to human anatomy and vice versa,
Yeah.
right? So even if you're a creature artist, this course is going to help you, because instead of just saying, oh, there's an arm with a bump, you're like, oh, that's a bicep, you know
Mm-hmm.
that's all different types of muscles that we're going to go into. So yeah, so if you're a beginner going into intermediate, or intermediate and you're ready to take it to the next level, this is definitely the course for you to level you up like you've never been upped before.
No, I, okay. So I mentioned before that I sat in with all your live courses, and I watched most of your content. Um, Now I know that you go through anatomy like crazy. I think the
Mhm.
first 4 or 5 weeks is straight up anatomy. What I found that was amazing about this course is when your students were going through this course in the beginning, like you said, they were just talking about, the bump in the arm. But
Mhm.
towards the end, they were all like talking anatomy terms for every part of the body. And I think that's one thing that everybody really gained a lot of knowledge about was the amount of anatomy that you threw at everybody. And just watching their sculpts go from just ordinary sculpts in the beginning to freaking masterpieces in the end. Um, so, like your 10 weeks, could you tell everyone like a little bit, like what do you go over as an overview between your 10 weeks as promised, not including the extra 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever you're going to end up with in the end? What do you go over in your course?
um the anatomy of the face, the differences between sexes, um the body, head to toe, um, uh, how to use Z-Muller, how to use some functions in ZBrush you probably don't know about, nanomesh and array mesh, how to combine those two, how to create brushes, how to create IMM brushes, curve brushes, um, how to transfer your information back and forth between Substance Painter and ZBrush, and how to present it um, so that your clients say yes, or your fans say, I want to follow you, and just everything that I know to get you there, because um, I just don't want this to be invaluable in any way. I want people to always say, man, I'm really glad I got this course. I'm really glad I took the investment, took the time, and learned a whole lot. And now I'm a better sculptor. Like that's all. That's the main goal of this for me. you becoming a better sculptor, becoming a little bit more fluent in how to go in between programs, definitely becoming way more fluent in anatomy, and knowing what you're sculpting instead of just what you see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I don't need um, reference whenever I'm blocking out a character. I need reference whenever I'm refining the character now, because I know what things are doing. I know where they're supposed to go. I know where it's supposed to end up. What it looks like when it stretches. What's underneath it that's affecting that form. And again, it's just going to make you a whole lot better, a whole lot quicker. Much of the homework, you have an overarching project, which is the collectible itself. But every week you have either drawing and speed sculpting challenges. And I always try to make the themes interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something that you haven't done before, because it's sometimes you guys be thrown into the deep water and then we bring you back, and then we throw you back in, and then you're more and more comfortable each and every time. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that's what the course is: getting your speed caught up with your talent and making sure you're way more talented.
Now, if you could, one piece of knowledge that you would like all of your students to come away with from your course, what would the number one goal for anyone that you want anyone coming away from this course to have?
An overwhelming sense of value. Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's it. It's nice and simple and sweet. An overwhelming sense of value. That's what I want people to walk away with.
All right, so guys, we've got we're about out of time, but yeah, so Spicer's course is on xmdacademy.com. If you are interested in this course, go over to xmdacademy.com. I put in the link for the course in the chats. And yeah, it is a 10-week course with a lot
Bonus
more
content.
content than that.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to walk away with so much knowledge you don't even know what to do with.
Yeah, you get a male and female rig as well. Yeah, you get a male and female rig. You get a ZBrush rendering scene, a ZBrush material, and then of course all the information that I can give out.
Yeah, it is. It truly is an amazing course, and it is well worth the investment. And anyone that has signed up for the on demand already, you can actually upgrade to the live course. Message me or Spicer, and we'll get you hooked up on that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give a decent discount for that. So yeah, anyone that is interested in this, Spicer is an amazing teacher, and I've actually learned a lot from him just watching the courses and moderating the chats and all the live video sessions. But yeah, so character creation for collectibles on XMD Academy, and thank you very much, Spicer, for coming. And
No, my pleasure, brother. Thanks for having me, and thanks for everybody that's watching, either live or on demand. I really appreciate y'all taking the time to listen to this talk, and regardless if you sign up for the course or not, on demand or live, I think it's the last day to sign up for live. Either way, doesn't matter. Definitely reach out and friend me on Facebook or Instagram, Spicer CG. Facebook is just my name, Spicer McLeroy, and definitely reach out because I'm always looking for a network of champions and passionate artists.
yeah, today is the last day to sign up. Of course, the class starts tomorrow. Everything will be available for the first week at 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I believe. So yeah, come and sign up, and we hope to see you in this course. Thanks everybody for watching.
Later.